And what do we actually have to do, Zeffie?
Just answer a whole bunch of questions. Pretty easy.
Are they in relation to COVID at all, or?
Yeah, last report you went to any human interaction, stuff like that.
Okay, well we haven't had any interactions. Is that a form we have to fill in there, the COVID form?
Yeah, but we're just doing it on the...
Online?
Yeah. Well, not really online, just sending an email with the information.
Of course we don't have it online, do we? So you're just sending the information via satellite?
Yes.
Okay, what else do we have to do, Vin?
We have to do this one, which is an early one, and then we need to do the normal standard
So why
advance note.
is there two?
I think because of COVID. They want one 7 days in advance and they want another one 2 days in advance.
Is that so they can organise tests for us?
I don't know.
7 days and then 2 days, alright. And we're all having predictions. We're on day 10 of our journey at the moment. And Dave's prediction of how long this journey's going to take us is...
Well, Zeffie and I have just written as an ETA for customs, 12 o'clock on Saturday the 17th.
Oh, you've gone with my day. Oh, that's 17 days.
Okay.
I predicted 17 days for the whole journey. Dave was on 15 and he has changed. Did mine sound better than yours, Dave?
I just worked it out
On the calculator.
on the calculator and we thought that looked good. I added a few hours as well, so.
Okay, cool.
Bouncy.
Bouncy trip so
Like
far.
as in B-O-U-N-C-I. Bouncy. It's been a practice in levitation. I think I've counted 2 seconds so far that I've managed to levitate horizontally.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, apart from that, excellent food, fantastic food.
Thank you.
You know, slightly twisted family. They call it a bent wheel. You know, it's a bent wheel because it goes it's a bit like the boat when it creaks.
Yeah. Night shift, getting to New Zealand. No longer in the Solomons, I can tell you. It's getting blimmin' cold at night time. And trying to spend as much time inside as possible rather than being outside. But just sending the kids off to bed, and then I've got another 2.5 hours of shift. So I'll be frozen by the time I come back in, but that's all right. Day 13, and we're still coping, but all of us are really over it now. And the Autopilot has just had a tantrum.
The connecting rod between the two rudders has sheared off.
So is it just a bolt that's gone?
Yeah.
So, put a stick in there, I reckon. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah.
That works for a period of time.
One of the children.
One of the children. Stick a finger there, that'll hold it. But Dave's desperately trying to get this fixed before it gets dark, because it's getting pretty dim out here at the moment. So otherwise we're down to one rudder, and that wasn't working too well, and the autopilot wasn't working, so it obviously needs 2 healthy rudders to keep us going. Such a shame, because we were going so well. So out come the sockets. Feel like a surgical nurse.
And can you get me a pair of pliers in the other toolbox?
Yeah, pliers. Pliers, please, nurse.
I'll be the surgical nurse assistant. Doesn't know how to work toolbox. Ah, there we go.
Pair of pliers, they're sitting right on top. No, black-handled ones, black-handled, black.
I'm looking at black.
Towards me, darling. Towards me.
Those
Okay.
things.
Is this all right, Dave?
That's
Too small?
too small, but get me the bigger one.
Bigger ones.
Also,
You might have to lift the lid off. Have a look for bigger ones.
that's the bit that's broken. And that holds the
Yeah.
rudder stock onto the link.
Yeah. It's been under a bit of pressure, huh? So if one's gone, it's probably a good idea to do the other one when we get back to New Zealand. So this is the emergency tiller that we've got out.
Is that probably good? I can't hear.
That's good.
You can't let that rudder move.
Me?
Yeah.
Honey, it's jammed in on me at the moment. I can't move.
Right, I'm just please asking you to try not to let it move.
I've done worse for the cause. This is Dave's gentle reminder to us. Try and go east around storms. Okay.
So the forecast was for 25 gusting to 30 knots, and we were going to try and sail slightly into it so that we could keep making our heading towards New Zealand. But with the having just gone past the centre of the low, and as we've come out, the winds have gusted right up to about 40. So, and the sea states come with it. So it's got pretty uncomfortable here. And so instead of trying to keep beating into it, we've decided to turn the boat around. And we're now heading in completely the opposite direction. But the boat's a lot more comfortable, and obviously the apparent wind has dropped right down as well. So we've now got an apparent wind of 31 knots, and we're doing 6-7 knots in the other direction. So a true wind of 38 as we're sitting here right now.
So it's day 15.
Yeah.
So you think we'll delay our arrival in New Zealand by a day or two?
Yeah, I think we're going to probably end up spending 24 hours going in this direction, away from New Zealand, so it's going to take us 24 hours to go back towards New Zealand. So that's going to delay us by 2 days. Comfortably?
That's right though.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that. Wowzers, look at that sea. Oh, 11, 12 knots down that wave. Holy cow, that was a big one.
Morning, Jazz.
Morning. Crash course of meditation. Dave's making us butter chicken from a can, and we are all quietly going nuts while we're waiting for the weather to subside so we can turn around and head back to New Zealand. So day 16 and we're still sane. We're coping okay. Back to sailing again because the seas have calmed and abated quite a lot. But anyway, this is our track. So we were doing really well coming down towards New Zealand, which is down here. And then the storm hit, and the southerly, and we just couldn't go into it anymore. The winds were too strong for us and the seas got too big. So up we went, back up north as if we're heading back to New Caledonia, and now this morning I've got up and Dave's got us sailing west. So not towards New Zealand, but we're going to tack west for most of today, and then when the winds subside altogether we're just going to motor down to New Zealand. So it seems quite strange, Dave, doesn't it, that we're getting this close to New Zealand, we just can't seem to get there.
Can't get there, exactly. It's quite frustrating.
It is very frustrating, but look, we're sailing again.
Yep. The seas have dropped down and we didn't break anything overnight, so that's all good.
Yeah. Day 16, more dramas ahead.
Right, we just put the main up, and as it went up, just had a look and saw that the bolt that holds the boom to the gooseneck had lost the top of it, which is where the ram's head, where the sail ties into, and it had come off. So the bolt was working its way out, and fortunately we caught it with millimetres to spare before it dropped out, because if it had dropped out, the boom would have come off with it. So yeah, disaster averted.
Lucky. So we're sailing again now.
We are.
And we had a bit of a horrible angle this morning, then we motored south, and now we're sailing southwest. Little Squidly. He's a bit of an unfortunate soul, isn't he, Jay?
Yep.
He didn't mean for his life to end this way.
No, she didn't.
And we finally got clothing up on the sides of the boat because the conditions are stunning for day 18. We have maintained some sanity, but we're feeling pretty thrilled now to be approaching New Zealand. It is kind of time for this whole journey to end. Just getting on land again would be pretty good. Changes for mariners in recent months has been really difficult. to keep up with, and in particular difficult for us to plan our trip to New Zealand, and so we have been asked for our quarantine plan, and that's kind of difficult to give when you don't know what port you're actually allowed to enter the country into, and so we've gone backwards and forwards with customs and immigration and health officials in New Zealand, and just due to COVID-19, the number of changes have been really difficult for us as mariners in a small craft entering New Zealand to keep up with. But it's also been really difficult for the agencies to keep on top of all the changes as well and offer us the advice that we've been requiring, really, for us to plan our trip to New Zealand and to fill in all of the necessary documents. So initially, we were asking for which port we were even allowed to enter the country into, and no one could give us a straight answer. And that was because it was all under review, and we unfortunately were planning our trip just when the decisions had not been made. But now, as we're about to enter New Zealand, during this trip, the rules have changed again for quarantine. So any craft now that's entering New Zealand, or any small craft that's entering New Zealand and has been at sea for less than 12 days will need to be removed from their vessel and go to a quarantine facility for the remainder of their quarantine period. Any vessel that's been at sea for over 12 days can continue to stay on board and complete their 14 days in self-quarantine on board their vessel. We will have been at sea for 18 days, and we're going to arrive into Opua in the Bay of Islands and sit on their queue dock, but we've still got to wait for swabs to be taken for our COVID test, and that's taking about 3 days for that processing to happen. So I mean, it's going to be Monday tomorrow. That's when the swabs will happen, and we possibly won't be allowed off the quarantine dock until Thursday. So our passage has been 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 days, including quarantine. So it's a long time, and we're really looking forward to being able to walk about and just connect with people again, other than those on board. Here come the fenders. We're going to be tying up late tonight, so we're just getting it all organised now.
Oh.
And in seconds we'll have fenders. These fenders have been bloody good, haven't they?
Absolutely.
They're awesome. So they fold away to nothing, easy to stow.
And they provide amazing protection.
They provide amazing protection. Yes, they do. The boat hasn't got pregnant yet. This is called furling fenders. And then, pop, out comes the end. Oh, this moment feels good. It's going to feel even better when they hang over the side. It's a bit floppy, Dave. It's a bit flaccid.
You have to get the hand pump out.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, just give it a bit more.
Ah, needs a bit more.
Yeah, it does. Usually with a hand pump.
Our last sunset, day 18, and we're nearly there. We're pretty excited to have finally made it home. Not so much that it is home, but just that the journey has come to an end. We're all pretty excited to actually get on shore again and just rest for the night and just have a quiet night where the boat's not rocking and there's no bashing on the hulls. It's just going to be a quiet, quiet night.
Join us next time as we awake to our first day in New Zealand.